everybody, my name is Una. I'm from Serbia and I'm 13 years old. Bianca and I are from Student Council DFC and we are here for our masterclass with Mei Lin and we are here to interview her. Bianca, please introduce yourself.
Hi, my name is Bianca. I'm from Kenya and I'm 12 years old.
Good morning. How are you, Mei Lin?
I'm fine. It's nice to meet you. Una, how old are you?
I'm 13.
Okay. Very nice to meet Una and Bianca.
Mei, can you share with us a little bit about yourself and job?
Yes, I am. I was born in Singapore and I lived in Australia. And then I moved to the United States. And nowadays, my job is to think about the future of how digital will affect people's lives. And my job is that I chair an organization called the People-Centered Internet. That's it for now.
Thanks.
Did you always want to do this job ever since you were a child, or was it something that you learned about from someone else growing up?
I don't think this job existed when I was a child, so I wouldn't have known that I wanted to do it. I invented this job, so I didn't learn about it when I was growing up. I decided that it was important to do, and I founded an organization called People-Centered Internet, and I started it in 2015.
What can you tell, what did you mean about people-centered internet? What can you tell us about the importance of the future of the internet?
Yeah, the internet has made a lot of changes in the world. And one of the reasons it's done that, it has brought technology into people's lives, but that's made quite a lot of changes in the world. And those changes are not always good for people, because the things that happen with technology a lot of them have been done so as to make money. That the need to make money has driven a lot of the things that has happened with technology and how it's come into our lives. So, for example, the phone. The phone is something that has come into everybody's lives, and for your parents, when they were growing up, they probably only used the phone very seldom, and it was a landline. It was connected to wires, and they had to go to a particular place in the house and go and speak there. Nowadays, people can carry phones wherever they go, and that has changed a lot of lives. For Bianca in Kenya, you can now actually transfer money using your phone. That was never possible 20, 30 years ago. And so when you can do so many new things and the technology is allowing that to happen, not everything that can be done is necessarily a good thing. For example, not everything that you can watch on YouTube is something that is appropriate for 12-year-old people like Bianca or 13-year-old people like Una. And so many things are out there, but we as a society have not adjusted to all these new things. And so my work is to help us adjust and to learn the skills to both work in this new world, but be good citizens in this new world.
What are some of the challenges you have encountered in your work? How did you deal with hardship? How do you overcome them?
That's a good question. These are all very good questions. I think hardship is a normal part of everyday life. Things don't always work the way that you want them to. And people get upset. You get upset. Things don't go as you plan. And so all of these hardships, these are small hardships. Then there are big hardships where plans that you had for what you wanted to do become impossible, or somebody that you really care for passes away, or other hardships might be where there's a job that you want, you can't get it. So all of these are hardships that I've encountered. And what I do is, at first, I think I was quite a sensitive person, and if things didn't work the way I expected, I would get very upset because I was very, I expected things to work the way I planned. And, but over time I learned, no, things don't work the way you plan. And just getting upset is not that helpful. And so I learned to somewhat have more control over my response to hardship. And I tried to see, oh, this thing that happened, I don't like it, but it may not be something I can stop. So what can I do to make it positive in some way for myself? And I found that this attitude to hardship, trying to take every piece of hardship and turn it into something that could be a positive learning, or a positive adjustment, or a positive shock that I needed to change my behavior or my attitude. These were all things that I used the hardships to learn how to adjust myself. And then when I learned to adjust myself, it became easier. So now I think I can take on quite a lot of hardships. And it's because when I was younger, I learned to not just get upset. I would take it as, what can I learn? How can I adjust?
Have you ever failed in one of your projects? How did you overcome your fear of failure? What did it take you to succeed again?
Failure just happens over and over again. So I guess I overcame my fear of failure by getting used to it. It became like a habit where you just think, no one wants to fail. But if you take on things that are new or things that are hard, failing is just part of the game. And so learning about dealing with failure, I learned that when you fail, you need to not get upset at yourself. You need to understand what happened here. Was it something that I could have done to prevent the failure? Okay, I take a note of that. Next time, I'll remember to do the thing I forgot. Or was it something that I did do that I shouldn't have done? Then I take a note. Okay, I did something. It was, how can I learn not to do the things that make me fail? Then there are things that you fail and you have no idea why. And where you did everything, you didn't do anything that shouldn't have been done, but you still fail. So then you think, I will keep that as a question in my mind. And I will keep thinking about what could have been why I failed. And so if I don't know the answer right away, maybe 1 year later or 10 years later or 50 years later, I learn. So learning about over time, why I fail, what I can do about it is what I try to do about failure. So that is in general. Maybe I'll just give a practical thing. I sometimes am walking along and I knock into something that hurts my foot. So then I will stop and say, what hurt my foot? Oh, it was something sticking out. And then I rub my foot to make it feel better. Because when I was a child, my mother used to rub where it hurt. I rub my foot. And then I look at what did I trip over? I think next time I will try to notice that there's something like that that I can run into so that I won't hurt myself again. I hope that was helpful.
Yes. What is your biggest project?
Well, my biggest project is my current project. My current project is really how can people become better at dealing with all the problems that happen. It's called building resilient communities. So for a community like your neighborhood, each family often lives in their own house. And if a big storm comes, you try to deal with it. You know, the storm might break your window or it might knock your door, and you try to fix just your own situation. So the idea of building resilient communities is to say the community can be stronger if you work together. And so by partnering up with your neighbors and maybe the school teachers and people in your community, maybe the shopkeepers, your parents. Okay, supposing there was a bad storm before and we took a long time to clean up afterwards, how can we prepare better for preparing for a storm so that in the future it will be easier for us to recover faster? And by talking with other people, someone might say, oh, what I do in my house is I put boards over the windows so that the windows don't break. Or somebody else might say, I put sand in bags and I put the sandbags around my doors so the water doesn't come in. And so by talking to each other, you can learn what to do to build your neighborhood so that it can recover faster from any disaster that's happening. So that's the big project that I'm working on, is building resilient communities. And I am very involved with technology and digital technology. So I think about how can digital technology help us share information like this, so you don't just share it by talking to your neighbors, but somebody might say, okay, if you live in this neighborhood, this is the kind of thing you should do to prevent your windows being broken. Or I have a business protecting windows, ask me to come and protect your window before the storm. Does that help you to understand what is my big project? It's to help communities be better prepared for the future.
Yes. What can you tell us about your partners? How did you work together?
My what?
Your partners. 2018, you had a partner with you who's helping you about program for the future. I read something about that. How did you work together?
So in 2008, yes, we did Program for the Future. Program for the Future was a big celebration for the 40th anniversary of something called the mother of all demos. And it was 3 women, and we really appreciated the person, Douglas Engelbart, who had come up with many of these computing breakthroughs, and we wanted to celebrate the 40th anniversary. So each of us brought another person in. So there were, in the end, about 8 people, and 8 of us organized a big celebration. There were maybe 300 or 400 people that came, and we ran an event for 2 days at the Tech Museum of Innovation in San Jose, California. So how we did it was we met by phone every week to organize who are we going to invite, what will be the program, who will be the speakers, whose permission do we need to get for getting the food and getting money for the food, who do we work with in the city so that they can give us permission to have this. So that's how we work together. We did it by meeting regularly. We listened to each other. We solved the problems as best we could ourselves or together in pairs or as a whole group. And then when we finished, we had a big celebration to say, we did it. It was not easy, but we did the program for the future.
We read that you work with people who had won Nobel Prizes. How did that impact you and your project?
So I actually studied under the 2 people who won Nobel Prizes. At the time, they were my professors. They were not working with me on a project, but I was studying under them. But when I studied under them, I knew that what they were talking about was had a lot of lessons for the whole world. And I tried to listen and understand what they were saying. I tried to concentrate as much as I could to absorb what they were trying to teach, because I could feel that it was very important. Later on, they won the Nobel Prize for their work, but at the time they had not won it yet. It just felt important. So I did my best to understand what they were talking about. Later on, how it impacted my work is that I understood I had had a great privilege to interact with people who are some of the best thinkers in the world. And it made me understand that I had a responsibility to take what I learned from them and share it with other people, that I shouldn't just think, oh, I'm just one person, what do I know? My thoughts don't count. I thought only a few people in the world have had a chance to study under these great minds and new thinkers. And when you study directly, the things that you learn and understand that it seemed important to me to learn and share with other people. It also gave me more confidence in my own ideas, because I had actually seen people with great ideas, and I understood that it doesn't look so great at the beginning. It's just people, normal people, and they are persistent in getting things done. And so how it affects my work is that I don't give up. I keep on going. If somebody says, Mei Lin, that's a stupid idea, I consider what's stupid about it, but what's important about it. If I want to continue, why should I continue? And I think working with Nobel Prize winners has given me much more confidence that some of the people who think ideas are stupid are themselves not very smart, because they're not learning. they are quick to ignore new ideas. So how it's affected my work is that if somebody says, that's a bad idea, or you must be stupid to do it, think about doing that, or this doesn't make sense, it doesn't affect me so much because I've seen really smart people. I've studied under people who are Nobel Prize winners. So it gives me confidence to know the difference. Sorry, just drinking some water.
Do you have any imagination how would future of the internet looks like in the future? How the internet would looks like, technology and all that, how it looks like in the future? Do you have any idea, imagination?
Yeah, I actually wrote an article called Back to the Future. And I called it Back to the Future because I think that the future of the internet is really where it's as though there was no internet at all. But inside the tables and chairs and beds, there is technology, but it is hidden, not to hide it from us, but so that we can live the lives that we want, that are important to us. So before there was the internet, our houses were not arranged around computers and phones. Our houses are arranged around eating dinner together, going to bed, sitting in the living room, going for walks, visiting places. And when we went and did all of those things, what was important was our interaction with other people. Today, you see people going for walks and they're looking at their phone. They're not looking at the eyes of the other people. You see a mother with a stroller with a child, and the child cannot get the attention of the mother because the mother is looking at her phone. So in the future, I think that the technology for doing what we want will be built into the furniture, into what we use. And when we are going, pushing a stroller with the child, we can concentrate on the child. And if some information is something that we need, we'll be alerted to that, but we can concentrate on our human interactions and our lives and be as families and work together as though in the days of before technology. So I call it Back to the Future because I think in 20 or 30 years, we will be much more with nature and able to enjoy life and our interactions with other people and with nature. And technology allows us to do that. Even today, you can do your work on the train. There's people called digital nomads. They don't have to go to an office. They don't have to live where they've always lived. They can go and live far away at a place as though they're on holiday, and they can work there. So I see that digital in the end, the way I hope for it, internet will allow us to live much richer and fuller lives, much more full of good relationships with other people and able to enjoy nature and look after our planet, look after our families better.
What do you think is your superpower?
I think my superpower is that I can almost see what other people cannot see about themselves. And then I try to connect people so that they can help each other. But maybe they didn't know they could actually do that. So in a way, my superpower is to see your superpower. um, and by seeing your superpower, maybe sometimes before you realize your superpower, I can connect you to each other or other people in a way that makes possible new kinds of things. That's a very
What
abstract answer. Go ahead.
what is your hobby?
I like walking. I like walking in gardens and parks. I also like to play the piano. And in winter, I like to go cross-country skiing, which is the type of skiing where you're walking. I like to go out for afternoon tea. I like to sit with other people and drink tea or coffee and have a cake.
Wow,
You
that's
said
nice.
you said you love traveling, and you are now in Estonia, and you're gonna go in United Kingdom. So, what is your dream destination that you've never been there? You've never been there, but you want to go there. Do you have any dream destination?
No, because I've actually traveled to so many countries. My dream destination, I'm fulfilling my dreams all the time. I decided last year that I wanted to go to Germany for 3 months, and then I did it. And then I'm going back to the US in July, and then probably before the end of the year, I'll go to Singapore, which is where I grew up.
And what was the best place you visit?
No, everywhere is the best place. I'm serious. I everywhere I go, there's something that I learn about myself, about the place. I like traveling because there's a story that's a really nice story. It is by Italo Calvino, a famous Italian. I think he won the Nobel Prize for Literature. And he said that everywhere you go tells you more about the place you came from, because where you grew up, you compare every place you go to where you grew up. And so you learn more about where you grew up by your life and the new places you visit. And because I really like to learn, I call myself a visual social explorer who loves to learn. Then travel is just a very intense form of learning, and it's visual and social and allows me to explore. So that's why I like traveling.
What or who inspires you?
My mother, she was told when she was young that it's not worth educating girls, and she refused that answer. So she got her own job, and she saved up for 7 years, and she sent herself to study. And she became a role model for other women to get their own jobs and to contribute in society. But she never forgot what it meant to feel so alone that nobody cared about you or wanted to help you. She was strong enough to help herself. And in a way, I think I'm inspired by her, that you have to help other people, because sometimes something very little that you could do could help them a lot. And sometimes it's just encouragement, or just to say, I care about you and that your life is important and your hopes and dreams are important. I think she realized that for herself when she was young, and she always did that for other people. So I'm inspired by her that you never live your life for yourself. You get more out of your own life if you use it in the service for other people.
That's
Do you have
beautiful.
do you have any fears? Are you afraid of something?
Oh, I'm afraid of looking stupid because when I was young, it was very important to sound very intelligent. And so I don't want to do something that's stupid or silly. But now that I'm older, I'm not so afraid of being stupid and acting silly and having fun. In fact, one of the nicest things about growing older is that you realize how important it is to have fun and to find joy. And that uh, what I used to be afraid of being silly because people might think badly of me. And now I don't worry about that so much because I think, okay, if they think badly of me, that's their problem. That's not my problem. My problem is to have fun and to help other people's lives be better and to show that I care. And if I can do that, then I'll live the life that I should live.
If you could swap with someone for a day, who would it be?
No one.
Why?
I like my life. I live exactly the life I want. Anyone else would have a different life. And I would have to learn a lot of things about how to live their life. And I'm now too old to learn somebody else's life, so I don't want to swap. And I've spent many, many years making the life that I want to live. I have invested my time and my effort to make sure that how I live each day is exactly how I want to live. That's why I couldn't change it with anyone.
That's a beautiful answer. I really like. How many languages do you speak? Because yours, I don't know. How many languages do you speak?
So my main language is English. I speak a little Mandarin, Chinese. I can understand a couple of Chinese dialects, but not very well, because I grew up, my first language was Teochew, a Chinese language. And then I lived in Singapore, where a lot of the sort of buying and selling, like if you wanted to buy food, you had to speak Hokkien. That's another Chinese language. I learned a little bit of Malay, which is the Bahasa, the language that's spoken in Malaysia and Indonesia. So I can understand a little bit of that. But I would say I'm really only fluent in English. That's it.
What is your favorite childhood memory?
Oh, every year when I was young, we went to an island. It was called St. John's Island. And that's my favorite childhood memory because we would go there and my cousins and our friends would all come and we would wear our swimsuits all day long, never putting on clothes except wearing swimsuits. And then at night to go to sleep, we would put on our pajamas. So that was a wonderful 1 week every summer. We would go to an island. That's my favorite memory.
What is your favorite holiday and why?
You know, I've lived in so many countries. Each country has different holidays. but probably from childhood, the favorite holiday would be Christmas, because there was more that happened at Christmas. You had the Christmas tree, and you had presents, and you had special foods, and you got together with your family. And so that was the most important holiday that I remember.
Do you play any sports?
I call walking my sport. I really just walk. But yesterday I played table tennis, which I had not played for years and years, but I remembered how much I liked it. So maybe I'll try table tennis again. Oh, and I do cross-country skiing. So that's kind of like walking in snow.
That's nice.
Can I ask both of you some questions?
Sure.
Of course.
I want to go back to the superpower thing. I want to find out what is your superpower, each of you. But I don't want you to answer it. I want to discover it. So I want to ask a question, and then I want you to think about the answer before you give it. Okay? So
Okay.
in school or in family or whenever you're free or doing things, are there times when you feel, I really like that, or I'm happy because of something I did? Something you did.
I have my voice, and my voice was heard, and I always have something to say, and I always try to find another way, to have few ways to get to my to get something I wanted, or something that can help somewhere. So I always tried to open to tell people that I have some other way, and if it's possible, and if it's better to go that way. But maybe some of people don't like me because I said that that is possible another way, and they want to shut me. And I
Okay.
think that's my superpower, because I never let anybody shut me, because I think that I should say something, and if you don't like it, it's okay. It's your choice, but I can say that it's another way. You can choose.
Very good. Bianca?
Well, I sit down and I sometimes I think, like, I like helping people, so I like doing this like fundraisers where we like bring things that we don't no longer need, and we give to someone who actually does. So sometimes I just sit down and think, wow, I did that. I helped someone. I made someone's day. And that just really keeps me going.
Great. So I want to give you a tip on how to cultivate your superpower, because you're both very young. And if you, for the rest of your life, keep improving your superpower, imagine what you'll be like when you're 80 years old. Your superpower will be so strong. It'll be a superpower, right? So my tip for you is, for each of you, for your superpower that you just described, for Una, her voice, for Bianca, a sense of accomplishment from helping other people. Every week, keep thinking, how did that work? Could I have done something different? Could I have had more impact. If you practice it, it's like a muscle. What I'm trying to train you to do is to treat your superpower like a muscle that you exercise. And for me, my superpower, I exercised it for 50 years. So it's actually very hard for people to have as strong a superpower as me because they did not practice for 50 years. So I just ask you, you choose your superpower now and you keep practicing to make it better. And you keep looking at, was there a failure? Was there something to learn? Always look at it as, I can still improve. And the connection I want to make for both of you with the superpower is that only the two of you have got this advice from me because you did this interview with me. You may not see me again, but you two, one is 13, one is 12, keep reminding each other about your superpower. Everyone has superpowers. It's whether they exercise it, whether they invest the time to make it a stronger superpower. Please do that, and you will change the world. I'm sure of it.
You said we always can fail. I had a lot of fails in when I tried to tell somebody something. I didn't tell it in bad way. I just said, "Oh, you can maybe do that or that. That can be possible." And they shut me up and said, "You can." Then I don't stop talking. I go to someone who's more powerful than them and tell them what I think. And if they listen to me, they change the mind of the person I told first.
Mhm.
So I'm trying
Yeah.
in that way.
Yes. The most important lesson is never give up.
Really good time, and I think you were a smart person, and I don't think your fear is have to be there because I listened to you the whole meeting and whole this video, and everything you said was very inspired and very smart, and I never been told something like that in that way. Maybe something similar, but never in that way that I could understand.
Good.
Thank you so much for your time. We've learned so much from you, and I hope you've learned one or two things from us. I hope one day I reach the level that you are. Thank you.
You will, Bianca. You just have to know that your destination is at this level and you will get there. The only secret, never give up.